interesting. I think I got everything buttoned up under here. For the most part. For now, anyway. Cool. Well, hey. Welcome back. Again. To my humble ado. Nope. It's just my garage. And I guess that means I'm in here doing some kind of crazy thing again to pretty much two of the vehicles I've been working on the last 6 months, because it's winter time and that's all I can bring myself to do is do that. If you recall in the last video, maybe not the last one of those other videos, I'll put the little flippy thing in right here where I said that I'm kind of burned out and working on the Impala doing stuff. Welcome back. Another day in the garage. No Impala stuff today, unfortunately. Not really. After those shocks, I'm just kind of ready for some different project. Yeah, that one. Well, I'm kind of burned out on doing stuff to Angus. Love you, bro, but I need a break. So, what brings you to this video here today? I'm gonna tell you. We're gonna work on the Impala. Some of you might recall over my shoulder here, written on the windshield. Can you see it? Yeah. We have a list of stuff to do. For what, you ask? This guy right here. Hot Rod Power Tour 2023.
Oh, hell nah. What's up, dog?
Yep. Impala's got a list of stuff. What's on that list, you ask? Well, we gotta look at the rear brakes. We gotta do an oil change. We gotta fix the paint and buff it again. We gotta paint the cowl. We gotta touch up emblems. That's what I have on that list right there. What are we doing today? Oil change. Because it's easy. So, without further ado, which I don't know why I keep saying ado, let's get into it, shall we? I guess I better start with popping the freaking hood. 1, 2, 3, go! There we go. So to start by changing your oil on a 1995, 94, 96 Chevrolet Impala SS, it's very simple. If you own any other GM vehicles, it's exactly the same. And considering most of my vehicles that I drive, minus the Trailblazer, are all pushrod V8s, you have an oil filter. It's back on the driver's side, rear underneath. You have a plug on the oil drain pan, and that's pretty much it. Even on the Trailblazer, it's got an oil filter and a plug on the oil drain pan. It's a little bit more convoluted and whatnot to get to, but you get there. Anyways, back to oil change on the Impala, this one specifically right here. So what I'm going to do is, first step, pop the hood. Second step, there is no real second step. You just kind of go however it makes sense in your brain. But I don't know why, but something's telling me that I should probably check my oil fill cap here on top of the valve cover. And why is that? Because I usually like to check for moisture. Oh yeah. Check that out. See how that goopy, grimy, pukey looking stuff in there? Can you see it? The moisture content in there? That's moisture. It's normal. Could not be normal, but most of the time it's normal. You got it like this, it's not a blown head gasket. So I think. We're not to that point yet. Most of the time, what this usually is just condensation from inside the motor from sitting from a long extended period of time, winter. And you go to fire it up, get some heat in there, and you know, condensation, like when you're drinking something hot or cold and you get condensation in the outside glass. Same thing happens with inside here. Then it mixes with your oil. Usually you don't typically notice it because what happens is your engine warms up, and as you're warming up your engine, it gets hot enough where it passes a 212 degree mark inside and actually boils the water out of your oil. What happens then? Well, steam kind of rises up through the engine and it collects in little spots like this. Or if you have a PVC valve, PCV, PVC, personal valve communicator. It sucks it into your intake and you don't even know the fumes because then you end up burning them off, and then it just, technology, you know, it just works. But sometimes you get this. So completely normal. Don't panic. Don't flip out. You're good. If you are questioning whether you have coolant or whatnot and you're to this point and you see this, go ahead and smell it. Yep. Smells like oil. For those you know, the smell of glycol, coolant, has a very unique sweet smell, especially when it burns. Oil has a very unique smell to it, but right here, this just smells normal. So use your sniffer. Next step I would do, check the oil level, okay? Check it. Things cold, hasn't been ran in a couple days. You pull the dipstick out, you don't even wipe it. It'll give you the exact amount on there. So let's do that. So I pull it out. Get your reading. Where are we at with our reading? It looks like we're maybe quarter quart low of oil. Viscosity's there. It's slippery. It's thick. Doesn't smell like he's got a bunch of gas or anything dumped into it. No, I'm not going to taste it. I'm not Derek. But smells normal. Smells just like our oil cap. So that is a good sign, and it's full-ish. If it was low, you want to start investigating whether you're burning it. You got oil leaks, whatnot. But we're good. We're good there. So we are going to put this back in there. So the next step, since our engine's nice and cold and it's actually been sitting all winter, we want to get the oil hot. Hot. We want it to move around, get some of that sludge. Might be settling on top of the valleys of the valve covered heads, that top. We're going to want to get that stuff kind of circulating around. Get it flushed down to the bottom. So we're going to open up the garage. We're going to back the Impala out. We're going to let it heat up, get up to operating temp, pull it back in, and we'll start on our oil change. Step next, you're going to want to go ahead and jack the car up. Jack it up. Jack it up. But if you don't have the proper materials to do an oil change, you probably should go buy those first and then come back to this point and then jack it up. We're good. Anyways, jack car up now. They get freaking hot, warmed up. Might help. Things twisted. Jack the car up, jack the car up. Probably good enough. Get jack stands. Put jack stands under it. So now you're to this point. What tools do you need to do an oil change? Well, glad you asked. You probably didn't, but I'm just telling you. 15 millimeter wrench. Why do you use a wrench versus a socket wrench that's 15 millimeter? Because some kind of an apparatus to get the oil filter off your hand. Oil filter wrench that when you squeeze it for whatever reason doesn't lock into place properly and your fingers are in here and you're going to squish them. Or some weird looking vice grips that you use for welding. They work pretty well too. They do have other stuff in there. Actual wrench that goes on there. 3/8 ratchet. You can zip it off. Zip it on. But make do with what you got. I've even gone as far as taking a flathead screwdriver or a Phillips screwdriver and putting it up alongside that oil filter because the guy before couldn't, know how to loosely put it on and snugged it on with every inch of his hand. And I've taken that screwdriver, hit it with a hammer, punctured it, and used a screwdriver for a filter, twisty, doodabby, get the filter off. Make do with what you got. So now we're going to go under the car and we're going to start removing stuff. Okay. Stage tools. Let's get under there. So under the car, you can see we have our drain plug and we have our oil filter. Somebody put the date of their last oil change on there and mileage. Probably a good thing to do on the new one. But what I like to do is I like to double check, make sure I don't have any leaks coming off of the oil plug or out of the oil filter because that means we have another problem. So we are good there. So let's go ahead and get this stuff loosened up and off of here. What'd I say? 15? Probably. Probably not. Seems excessively loose. That's good. Huh. Good deal. I'll just set that right there. So, as the time goes by, we just let this drain out into this giant pan. And if you're good, you can stage it so it doesn't leak all over your floor. So, let's see if I can get this off with just my hand and it's good. All right. Like so. That splashed. I've learned over the years, start putting gloves on doing oil changes because it takes a bit to get that oil off your hands after it soaks in. It's not fun. About that drain. So back topside, went ahead and took the plug out, wiped it off, made sure there's no metal on it. This one doesn't have a magnet on them. Some of them do have a magnet on them that'll collect metal shavings, so pay attention to that or change it out to one that does. Replace your gasket with one of the rubbers. need be. Sometimes you can get away with reusing some of those, but just change them out. They're in an expensive part. You want to get your oil filter out. Of course, I run Mobil 1 on this or K&N. Write the date. I usually write the mileage and then what kind of oil I'm running in it. Just so you know, for the next time, as we saw when we got under there, it was boom, there and done. Next, we're going to want to do is fill this up with oil. Make sure to get oil around this ring. And I like to take them and actually set them back in the box and then slide them underneath so I got a little holder while there, because otherwise they just kind of fall over. So I'm going to do that. Get it prepped, get it staged, and when I'm back underneath the car, I can just grab it, put it back on. One thing I will mention is make sure that this ring did come off of your old one. It's not still seated on the block there, because you don't want to double it up because they'll get leaks. So make sure you get it off of the with the old filter coming off your car. So I'm going to stage this all up, get it ready to go back underneath there, and be back under the car in a second. Okay. Back under the car. Go ahead and put your oil plug back in. Torques it to the special occasion. What's there, good enough. Make sure to wipe off any little excess leaks and wipe them on your shirt. You know, so when you wash your clothes, they all smell like oil. Then you want to get into pulling the filter that you staged on your box out. Of course, top is all lubed up with new oil. Old ring is not on there. We'll go ahead and screw on a new filter, like so. And just enough to be right there and tight. So now, pull the rest of your junk out from underneath the car, including this. Wipe up any little excess oil marks that you might have with a rag or your hand. And move back topside. Just love working on cold concrete floors. Oh. Did you know there's actually a place that takes used oil filters and they crush them and get every single little ounce of oil out of them? They recycle the aluminum out of them? Yeah. The railroad I worked at downstate, we got rail cars in full of oil filters, crushed. They brought them to a recycle center, recycle them. Pretty neat. So, what I like to do is I like to take the plastic bags that my stuff came in, and that box that we had for, you know, stabilization, and you go fishing in your pan for your old filter. Now, there are special oil pan, catch can drainers that have a little thing on there, and you can let it all totally just drain every single little ounce of oil out, flip it upside down, and then you can decide to cut it open and look at it and do all sorts of stuff. I have a couple of those. Why I'm not using it, I don't know. But what I'm telling you is, I'm just going to go like this and set it in there now upside down. Let all the oil drain off of the side there. And then when I'm ready, I can put that in one of those containers that actually holds the oil and flip it upside down and drain it out completely, and then cut the filter open, and then we can, you know, look at in the inside of it and see if there's any glitter in it. Tech tip. So now go ahead and let your car down. You know, let it down. Jack it up to let it down. oil you guys running? I always run the mobile one. Got some responses that anyone runs whatever's on sale. Valvoline, Pennzoil, all sorts of stuff. So I don't know. I've always just stuck with the mobile one, and it's never done me wrong. Maybe that's why this engine's lasting as long as it has. Anywho's. So I like to take filter, go ahead and clean it out with some carb clean, because who knows what I use that last for. And then just take 5 quarts, because that's all an LT1 takes. And dump her on down the throat neck and get her going. Nice and carefully. I'm sure there's probably a better way to do this, but this is how I'm doing it, because I'm doing it one-handed and I'm holding the other one phone camera thing. Yeah, that's how I'm doing it. Quit yelling at me. So now that the oil is filled up, go ahead and make yourself a little sticker like that. Tells you mileage and everything and when you got to change it next. Remove any old stuff. Go ahead, turn it over. Don't start it. You want to push the gas pedal in 3 times. Watch the oil light. 1, 2, 3. The change oil light will flash at you, and you have now successfully reset that whole system for your car.
What?
I'm a computer.
Go ahead, fire it up. Let it run for 2, 3, 4 seconds. Until the idle comes down. Go ahead, shut her down. And now let's go check the oil levels. And you can see, even without a wipe, we're full on the money. Good to go. Oh, get in there. There you go. Okay. Well, another thing we can cross off of the list. I'm sure we'll have to do another oil change before Power Tour, but at least we got it off our list for now. So guys, that's going to wrap this one up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting. You guys are awesome. If you like this one, please like it, share it, subscribe. Hit that little bell icon. You get notifications when I post videos. Try to do 1-2 a week. In that ballpark. Try to get it up there. But stay tuned. I got lots more stuff to do for the Impala to get it ready for spring driving, for Power Tour. We got Angus stuff to do. And then I got to get bits and pieces going. I got to start on that again. So lots more coming. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.